Welcome to the Jira Life, the place to find news, events, and interviews with the Atlassian community's movers and shakers. Join our hosts, Alex, Dr. Jira Ortiz, and Rodney, the Jira guy Nissen, as well as the Jira amigos in the Peanut Gallery, as we sit down and discuss the latest going on in the Atlassian ecosystem. Because we didn't choose the Jira Life, the Jira Life chose us.
Hello.
Dr. Valeri.
Hello, all. So excited to be here. Sarah's here too.
How did it take so long to get this to happen?
I don't know.
That is a question.
I've been begging to go on the show for so long. And Bob finally took pity on me and messaged and was like, I see you creeping on our pages. Let's go. Let's do this.
Let's go. I don't think an hour is going to be enough.
No. I got a game in here for you guys. Did Bob tell you? It's gonna be good.
I saw. But I am predicting a part 2.
I see.
And a part 3
for the first time here. It was a lot of begging from the producer.
From or for?
Both. And good collaboration on some things for later. Sean is with us too. Hey, Sean.
Valerie, you're like an expert here. You just want to become a co-host?
I feel like you need more representation here on the Jira Life. Sarah was holding it down last week. We gotta keep the balance happening.
Well, I think what we need to do, is Ronnie, you and I one day, we just need to be like the guests, and we need to let Sarah and Valerie run it.
I mean, I'm game. Let's do this.
Be like, let's take it over. Let's make it happen.
Yeah.
Jira Life takeover.
I just want to.
Sarah's on board.
I want to take over Rodney's when there's Team 25, because we went to Team 24 Europe together, and every 2 feet it was paused. Oh, Rodney, do you mind if I say hi to you? And I was like, oh, and I was trying to introduce people, be kind, like let's all introduce. Oh, we know Rodney. Well, we know of Rodney, but like we don't know Rodney. I mean, mini fame. I don't know how we didn't roll out the red carpet and just have you walk down it. It was beautiful.
That's a thing. Team 23 and Team 24 Vegas were just like that too. And Team 23, I was trying to work with Alex, and I couldn't even get to Alex to meet him.
I have a friend who came. She came to Team 24, and she's like, "I'm at the front of the expo." So I go get her, and I was doing a presentation like at the back. I'm like, we need to get all the way to the back, and I kid you not, it took us like the better part of an hour, just because the number of times we were stopping along the way.
But
Alex last time was the celebrity.
I don't know.
The thing I love about that though is you both are so very kind and approachable that it doesn't seep into Alex, the last time we spoke, into the ego. You're just still the kind, relatable people. Everybody sees this channel. Everybody watches. You go to a conference, everybody knows you, but it doesn't seep in. You're just still the same old, I don't want to say guys next door, but you have that home vibe. So
I think all that changes today after the email that Atlassian sent out today.
Oh, what did they say?
Go look at your emails from Atlassian.
What did they say? No, now I'm scared.
I think Alex is now officially celebrity status.
Are you?
Yeah, it's crazy. I'm doing a presentation next week on the Jira for marketers, and I'm like, it's just another. I've done 50 of these by now. Of these community-led trainings, and this one went out to everybody.
Again, they'll be right here on the Jira Life, right?
Absolutely. 110%.
So a little pressure to perform on this one. I'm a little nervous. We'll see how this
Alex, every time you do this to yourself, I say the same thing. You got this. You are the expert.
Yeah, we're going to manifest it right now. It's going to be amazing.
Mm-hmm.
We're all going to tune in. You're going to rock it out.
I'll be there with Bob in the background trying to answer questions on chat.
Just promise me when you get famous, I want to be a part of your posse. Like, do they have posses anymore? Like, I want to be a part of the group. I don't want like a pivotal or key, like don't make me be the person that has to hold the mic because I'm just going to drop it, but like have me be on the peripheral, just on the side, please.
Yeah, you just be.
I mean,
you, Sarah, you'll be right there, right on my team.
Don't forget the little people.
But I think we were talking about this, Valerie. I know it's the same way for Alex, but me, within the Atlassian community, I have this whole deal going on. But then I come back home and I go to the grocery store and no one knows who I am. And that is very refreshing because I just get a chance to just be me. Exactly. And I think that really helps. I think it's when you can't go anywhere for being recognized that people start having issues.
Yeah, one of the first questions Alex asked me was like, you came out of nowhere and then you're here. And I was like, and I will go away back into oblivion and no one will know. Because I do appreciate that sense of anonymity, especially when I'm very introverted and I'm in a very large crowd. It can seem overwhelming. So I like to size it down to individual people. So I don't know if I would ever be able to be the person that can't go anywhere without being recognized and still go out. I'd be afraid a bit. But Alex, you were saying something?
I was going to say, you're hanging out the wrong crew then, because Sarah is very much like you, and we've just sucked Sarah into this world.
I mean, Alex, I think me and you are kind of like that too.
Rodney and I stood at Team 23, and we just kind of looked out on the show floor of the expo, and we're like, what would happen if we joined forces?
Is this how the Jira Life came about it? Or
actually, kind of did.
What? We did, and then
we recorded the episode 0 of the Jira Life. Well, we consider episode 0 on the expo floor at Team 23.
I was carrying around my backpack with the camera and a microphone and my computer for like 3 days, and like 20 minutes before the expo's over, we're like, let's record something.
Yeah, let's do this.
Carry all this heavy equipment around all week for nothing.
Now, mind you, Alex and me have been trying to meet up for like days, but I was having that problem again, like you were talking about at Team 24 Europe, where I just couldn't get to him in time because I kept getting stopped.
Numbers. We were tweeting each other.
Yeah,
tweet messages. We didn't have each other's numbers. We didn't have Slack. We didn't have anything. So it was just like, where are you gonna be at? And by the time I get there, because it was my first team. And then Rodney was, of course, the creators get locked up in a room for most of the time, right? So like he was always off.
Felt like it.
Oh my God, that sounds a little scary. But I'm glad you did find each other, because that's how these beautiful collaborations happen.
But we found you now. That's the most important part.
We're all together, all together. You can't see my heart. But that's how the beautiful collaborations happen. Like you go somewhere, you see something and you're like, hey, let's do this. And then you record something really quickly. That person builds into their ideas and boom, you have some beautiful collaborations that lead to a show that's been very successful and quite engaging. So I love how those little moments happen.
So talking about that and what makes this show successful, it's our guest. So why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are then?
Hi, everyone out there. My name is Dr. Valeri Colon. I have a PhD, an actual one. We have this conversation all of the time. I'm the real doctor, but that's okay. You can still call yourself doctor too. Let's make being a doctor very approachable, very accessible. We can be doctors of different types. So Alex is here to fix your Jira and be your Jira doctor. And
I'm a Jira healer. That's what I am. I'm a healer of Jiras.
I focus more on productivity, process improvement. What else do I do? Documentation, training. I lead a development team for Connect-Centric. I also do strategic growth and development. So I look for strategic partnerships and collaborations and what magic can be created when minds get into a room and start to chat. So
and I would like to note out, between everyone on this show right now, I am probably the least formally educated. So I really don't feel like I belong.
No. Hey, don't discount informal education. Some of that is the most valuable educational experience.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I specifically said formally educated. I mean, I put my Jira and teamwork skills up against anyone. Absolutely. But as far as papers go, I have to lead. It's the smallest collection if you don't count certifications.
Do you know what that means? Less student debt.
Definitely what that meant.
Be a little jealous of that.
I mean, I'm not going to say that was the only factor into reason why I didn't go on to get my master's, but it was a definite factor.
Yeah, it's really the industry, the education industry is really faced with a challenge these days because one, technology is advancing so quickly that how do we keep the education space going? Like how do we teach people? And two, some of the most critical skills aren't necessarily taught out of a book because, like, for example, plumbers, electricians, like the trades, IT, that has historically been, we've gotten certifications and credentials and degrees over time, but that has historically been a self-taught field because it was so emerging. And now we have AI, and AI is also although it's existed for a while, like large language models have been around for over 75 years, the complexity and the use of them is so very new. You can't necessarily learn that in a book. So the people on the front edge, the leading edge of innovation, tend not to be, sadly, the ones with the college debt. It's you, Rodney. You're on the leading edge. But I shouldn't discount my PhD. I love that I went out and I got it. It does add value to my life and experience, but I am very real in the fact that you have to really evaluate higher education to see if it fits your needs and your goals and your lifestyle.
I mean, those were the factors I was looking at. Was I am in a very skill-based profession. In 100 years, it's probably going to be just another trade like plumbing, electrician, other craftsmanship fields are. So I didn't feel at the time I needed another degree to be competitive in the marketplace. I was very eager to move on with my life for reasons that I think we'll get into on another show. I was very much an older student at the time. So I was very eager to get on with my life, and I just I could stick around for another 2 years and get another piece of paper and have a double plus my debt. That being said, I know at some point I'm going to go back and get those higher degrees just because it feels like a untapped challenge. It's like, why do people climb Everest? Because it's there.
Yeah.
So I do think at some point I will go back, but as far as when that is, I can't say just yet.
Yeah, I'll never go back to school ever again.
Yeah,
you say that about the TET exam every time, but yet whenever we're going to study for the next one.
I have a master's degree because I interned at Boeing, and my friends that were interns that were in the program together, when we placed, so we got hired as full-time employees at Boeing. They were like, hey, we're all going to USC to get our master's in systems engineering. You want to come along? And I'm like, guys, people don't just go get their master's like that. And it turns out if you have a $50,000 check from your company, you absolutely do just show up to school. What? And then a master's happens 3 years later.
And then you got to go to school with your community of practice. So you're a group of people that you can pull information, brainstorm with, solve challenges with, community advocacy. So if something happens, you can come together and advocate for services or needs. That's why I like the Atlassian community so much, is because you have this community of practice that's built in there that if something doesn't work, right? You
Welcome to ACP 120 study session.
Yes. Oh my God. So at Team 24 Europe, the education Atlassian University, one of the checkoff lists to get your t-shirt was to say hi to them. And so she was talking about, do you have your certifications, your credentials? And I was like, well, so I have this PhD, and the idea of me going into a program and sitting down for a test is actually giving me anxiety right now. I don't know if I could. Is it enough? Are we good? We have some breaking news. Oh, Bob is such a good moderator. Let's shout out to Bob. He is keeping us all kinds of good information on our screens. Not to be distracting. Sorry. I won't take over the show.
No, please do. I'm going to try and get this up for us real quick.
You do that while we keep... so what did they tell you? Are you going to take the ACPs?
No. Do I have to? I was not joking about the testing anxiety.
You want to talk about the test anxiety? Talk to this man right here. He'll tell you all about test anxiety.
Yourself.
You, Alex.
Okay,
I don't have test anxiety. I go into a test. I'm not going to say not nervous. There is a little bit of nerves there, but it's manageable. And it's just like, at this point, I got this. I go in, I do what I got to do. Whatever the outcome is going to be is what's going to be at that point. There's nothing more I can do about it. So I just do what I got to do.
I envy that characteristic. I will have an existential crisis and all the information in my brain will fall out. And I feel like I did my time. Like I started college when I was 15 and graduated with my BA by the time I was 20, got my master's later on after I got injured in the military. Then I went back to school and got my PhD and I finished that in 2018. So like that's a good majority of my life. Can I be done?
Can I tell you, Dr. Valeri, you are really the smartest person I know.
Oh, that's so nice. You should see some of the dumb things I do. I won't tell you about them so we can keep up that image.
You just got to live stream your Ring camera.
Oh, no. I'll try.
I've seen
start a home improvement channel.
Oh my God. I could tell we have live breaking news, but let me tell you, I was building stairs and people think when I say I'm renovating my house that I'm coordinating contractors. No. It's me with a hammer and a nail outside trying to kill myself. So I was removing one set of stairs and putting in the new set of stairs and I got caught between them. And it's me on the side of my house with my legs just dangling there. And I'm like, this is interesting. How do I get down? And then I had this massive bruise where I was pinched between those two staircases. It was beautiful. Back to breaking news.
So, Bob, keeping us straight here, we have a live incident right now, which would normally be cause for an emergency meeting, but we're actually in the middle of a show, so... I mean, I could play the video, Alex.
Do it. Play this video. And let me just say that every time something doesn't work for me in the Atlassian ecosystem, I go and I message you guys. Did you break it again? Because you're responsible for anything that goes wrong.
You got to do a sanity check. So I always ping these two and go, is it also broken for you too?
I mean, that's the kind of sanity check is, good point, Sean, but it's not 3 p.m. on Thursday for everyone.
As I've learned that time zones are a thing. The hard way.
I don't know what it is, but every Californian I've talked to has the same problem with time zones.
I'll tell you why, Rodney. This is easy. To a Californian, you have the Pacific Ocean, you have LA where I live, you have Las Vegas, then nothing until the Atlantic Ocean.
I don't exist.
That's our view of the world. Like that is like for the first 25 years of my life, that's the world I lived in. When I moved to Missouri, I still remember the first tornado warning that I had. Our director, our senior director of like IT, he's like, Alex, how did you survive last night? I was like, what the heck was that last night? He's like, you've never seen rain and winds like that? I was like, never. Like we don't have rain or winds. Like inclement weather the word inclement was not a word in my vocabulary growing up at all. I don't know what severe weather is. Like we just have perfect.
Yeah, and the potential to fall off into the sea with earthquakes. And so, like, there's pros and cons.
I mean, that's the thing I point out to every Californian who is terrified of the weather we get over on this side of the country. I'm like, to us, it's normal because we grew up with it. What's not normal for us is earthquakes. They terrify us because we just don't have experience with them. And it's the same thing in reverse to a Californian.
But earthquake is like a post-traumatic stress because you can't predict the earthquake. So
that's the part that bothers me, really, is that right there.
Yeah, because you're watching a tornado coming right at your house. And
really, we are. I've been on the front porch.
Falling out the streets. My son decides that's the perfect opportunity for him to go use the restroom. I'm running around trying to get everything into the basement and figure out if we even have food to provide. There's alarms and sirens going off outside. All our neighbors are just closing up all their windows and doors and garages. And I'm like, what did I just get myself into?
It's crazy.
So I rapidly left St. Louis in a heartbeat. I was there for 31 months. That's all I could do. That's
quite understandable. Not to offend anybody. I was in basic training in Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. And let me tell you, it 1 second it would hail on us, rain, scorching hot, a tornado, rain again, scorching hot, and that's all within the same day. It changes so quickly out there. And in California, it is very consistent. But I like the seasons here on the West Coast, or the West Coast, the East
Andy
Coast.
Gladstone came over to visit me last year, and I think he was like a month out, and he's like, "Hey, what should we do?" I was like, "Let's just go to the beach and hang out." And he's like, "Might not be appropriate to go to the beach at that time of the year." And I'm like, "Andy, it's going to be 75 degrees today, 75 degrees tomorrow, 75 degrees in a month from now. It will be 75 degrees when you come, so don't worry." Sure enough, we walked down the beach, and he's like, "I cannot believe you knew that it was going to be 75 degrees." I'm like, "I told you, it's the perfect weather. Southern California. I pay a pretty penny to live here."
I mean,
Yes,
that
you
is
do.
the trade-off. That is the trade-off there.
And it's quite
Yeah.
expensive.
Watch, everybody's gonna come to teams. Everybody's gonna like sleep in my living room, and nobody's gonna want to leave.
I already told you, Alex. If I am there, I'm renting out space in your backyard. Set up a whole tent city.
I lived in California and I did leave it. Sorry.
Yeah, which part of California?
Yeah,
did you-
I went from Puerto Rico to California, then to Hawaii, and then to the East Coast. And
Now, not to interrupt, but going to California to Hawaii hardly seems like a downgrade.
yeah, exactly. So it wasn't necessarily a downgrade, and I got tired of Hawaii too. It's just when you eat vanilla ice cream every single day, don't you want a little bit of chocolate? You want a little spice it up in your life. And California, and I hate to be negative, the people there, not you, Alex, but just everybody else there, definitely not you, or any of our watchers, or any of the fellow creators. So any of the people
I think
that are
Matt the
watching
only
right
other Californian in here.
but except for all of those other people, they're a little shallow. Not to say on the East Coast it's not shallow. We're a different kind of shallow, but in the West Coast, it's all about appearances, all about what you or who you know. On the East Coast, it's all about resumes and like who's in your contact group. But so I wanted something different. We'll just say it that way.
So going back to our school discussion, I went to USC, and if you're from California, USC means a lot. I have legitimately gotten jobs in my career by simply doing this.
What was the symbol? Said I could do that too.
Yeah, it's our USC symbol, right? And my manager, who was also a Trojan, like that's it. That's all the introduction. That's all the interview. That's the conversation that just needs to happen. Just a peace sign.
I think this goes back into the what Rodney is mentioning of it's not necessarily what you know, but who you know.
Right. But then I went to the Midwest, and I was like, I went to USC, and they're like, it's not Purdue. I'm like, who the hell cares about Purdue? It's all about USC.
They care about it.
I know.
Now you come over to our side of the country, and there you say you went from USC. They're like, oh, South Carolina.
I heard that Boeing, right? So Boeing has a huge South Carolina one, and they're like, that one? I'm like, no, I went to SC, man.
Yeah, they're one. So tell me, guys, if I get breaking news, Jira migrations are failing, what should I do? What are the next steps?
Nothing. Pray.
Besides messaging you and me and being like sanity check, did you guys break it again?
Well,
what should I do?
I think Sean had an important note here. I mean, I know it's not 3 p.m. everywhere. Granted.
We've all this is a chapter in our lives, Valerie, that we've closed.
The migrations?
Yeah, we're just like, it's a thing that lasted like 4 or 5 years. We're kind of just over it. And something like this, we're like, sorry.
No, I would seriously, if a migration is failing and it hasn't permanently damaged your incident, which it shouldn't,
your data.
I might just say, maybe this can wait for a Saturday.
You're like, I think that's the universe telling me I need a break right now. We're just gonna pause.
This is also the universe telling you to check out our channel sponsor and make sure you're backing up your Jira.
That's right.
Also true.
Give them a good plug right there. So it was interesting. I thought, so I did a big migration project I want to say at the beginning of 2024. We started this a long time ago, and I wasn't even on it when it first started. But we had finished it before service agreement. When did the service agreement go out? February? Sometime in February.
February 15th.
Yes, Atlassian
Did you
stopped
miss the
supporting.
24-hour live stream that was
No, I did
all
not.
about that?
Oh my God. Never again.
I assumed that we were just one of the last people that finished their migrations. And so then I talked to folks at Atlassian, and I'm talking about, well, so why is there this on the partners place, this accreditation or the certification for cloud migration? I thought that was all done. And they were like, no, actually, a great many of our people have yet to migrate. And this was, I was talking to them, I want to say early summer. And I was like, but didn't you stop your services, like your support services months ago? And they're like, yeah. So, and then a lot of people
Months
also
ago, years ago.
Yeah, I don't want to say that.
I think
I told you, no
Atlassian gave
getting
up.
us in trouble. So goal for today, Alex, is
Is
we
we're not getting in
still
trouble?
have to be creators at the end of this show.
I want to still be able to wear this shirt, Alex.
Yeah, Atlassian
Yes.
has given up. I think Atlassian has given up on all this because they just hired that one person to go help out with data centers and enterprise, and yeah, I think the harsh reality is that whoever wanted to move moved, and everybody who hasn't moved is there for a reason, and the cloud is not for all.
Yeah,
And
that
I
is
think
a challenge.
Atlassian is realizing, we maybe us forcing everybody to go down this route wasn't the best of ideas, and that's now they have somebody that's in charge of data center.
Yeah, a lot of people did go to data center, and I've heard
But there's no migration needed for that, as I learned from Rodney a long time ago.
that you don't migrate to a data center. Sorry,
Not if you're already, like, if you're on server, you just turning on
Yeah.
the key.
Yeah, you put in the data center key and boom, you're on data center.
You're like magic. Now they
Yeah,
have all
so
the
like a lot of
stuff.
people are just holding out, right? Do you know I don't know, Dr. Val? Can I call you Valerie?
Yeah, you call me Valerie.
We had this conversation in Barcelona.
I'm not used to talking to smart people.
Situationally informed.
Thank you. I don't know if you used to know this, but Jira used to cost $10.
Oh, was it like Trello? Like it was very
No, it was
very
$10
affordable.
in perpetuity to install Jira.
Okay, we need to put the asterisk here because Alex is leaving out a very big asterisk. For Jira Server, you could have a perpetual license for 10 users max for $10.
That's nice.
And technically, you still have it. You can still run Jira Server on that license. I know because I have one of those licenses. And Atlassian will take it from my cold, dead hands.
You have to beat it out of you, Rodney.
So I think Atlassian at one point realized, oh crap, we're giving this out for $10, and then they realized, well, we got a business to run,
And
so
we
now
want to grow, and growing takes capital.
But now we're approaching the okay, start getting like organ donations ready because it's the only way to start paying for these things.
Yeah, it is getting a little pricey, and the subscription services are. Everybody's on subscription services. I was really, really quite pleased when the FDA, I believe it's the FDA, no, not the federal.
FTC, no?
FTC. You knew I was getting it wrong, but you know where I'm going with this.
There.
There was an F, and they ruled, and I don't know how it's going to go over, how it's going to blow over, that as easy as someone subscribed to something, they should be able to unsubscribe for it. And this was pretty huge for my world because I struggled with the company I will not name to unsubscribe for months. And in this struggle of trying to unsubscribe, they were still charging me a bill. And it was a financial services kind of subscription. And I'm like, how can you be in finance and not have a way for someone to unsubscribe? And I got caught in an error loop. So subscriptions are getting more pricey. Hopefully now you'll be able to unsubscribe a little easier. But I've heard a lot of rumblings about reverse migrations. Have you heard this? Have you heard these rumblings about people going to the cloud, and it's being very cyclical? So like people were all on server, now they're all in cloud, and then eventually they'll all come back down.
I predict this, right? I think IT is a very cyclical field. I've been in IT my entire career, all 10 years of it, 14 years of it. And the cloud used to make sense, right? Because you paid pennies, if not fractions of pennies, for cloud resources, right? And you're investing millions into a data center, but the scales have balanced. You're spending millions in your cloud subscriptions, right? And so, if these October yearly raises continue, spoilers, October 2025 expect a 10 to 20% increase.
Alex or Atlassian, don't add us. It's a pattern at this point.
It's a pattern, yeah. We got in trouble because we may or may not have predicted that there was going to be a price increase on the Jira Life, and Atlassian's like, you can't release that information. I'm like, it's happening every year, so every time I get a chance to say, expect a 10 to 20% increase next year, October 2025. Don't come at us. But anyways, it's going to happen, right? And so that scale is slowly going to untip, where it's going to make more sense to go and get your own resources.
I mean, for certain scales, that already does make sense. For larger footprints for Atlassian, if you have more users, it is cheaper to be on data center than it is to be in the cloud. And this is before you start adding things like Rovo and Guard and all the other add-ons.
Yeah, and for some people, so some clients, it's not even possible. So for government clients, Atlassian has done a lot of work and gotten a lot of certifications, but for a while there, they didn't have the certifications to meet the requirements of some government agencies, so they couldn't go to the cloud. Like, it wasn't even possible to go to the cloud. I think they've solved that problem and addressed it, and it was huge when they did.
We're not there yet, though. They're addressing it. They're getting through phases, but it's nowhere near. And then these companies, though, like, you got to imagine the amount of technical debt that you've acquired from we've built this Jira for the last 10, 15, 20 years to just move it to the cloud. Not everything is supported yet, right? The cloud's not perfect. And so, which kind of transition us loosely to a post that you made recently, Valerie, about should you ship products that don't work?
Yes, and thank you for contributing to that post, because Rodney, so post, I did a survey, one of the polls. I was trying to test out whether or not my community would respond to a poll, because they're a very underutilized feature in LinkedIn for very many good reasons. And then I posted a case study at the bottom to say, hey, this is what happened from that decision at Tesla for their Model 3 car. And then Rodney added to that with another case study, and he was like, don't hate me, but here's more. And I'm like, no, I don't hate you. I love more, because we're really learning from history and from experience, because I'm really interested in how people are making those decisions. When something comes up and you have a bug, but you have a release and there's competing priorities, is there a checklist in your mind that you're going down? Are there specific questions that you ask? Because I think critical questioning with the rise of AI is going to be ever more important of a skill to develop. In order to engage with your AI platforms, you have to ask them the right questions. In order to read the information that is coming out, you have to ask, is the information being provided right for your situation? Is it factual? So you got to have that literacy in there. But you were saying something, Alex.
Yeah,
before
no, I mean,
not
perfect, right? I just want to go deeper into your case study here, but bugs for me I like to say that bugs are a Scrum Master's kryptonite, because like when you have a problem, right? When you have an incident or a defect or some low quality thing, that is the make or break point of your product, right? Your reputation is on the line with these problems, right? And Sonos is a great example. I don't know if you heard of what happened to Sonos within the last month or two.
No, give us another.
Some, yes.
So Sonos, too bad, is Brian on the call? So Sonos did a little problem where they shifted their architecture from one system to another, their internal, how all their services work. So literally the core foundation of how their products talk to each other and how they all work. And so they modernized to scalability and whatnot, but it didn't work. But then they deleted the old system and they couldn't revert. And so they're right now you can't use Sonos products, period.
Yeah.
Don't delete your backup.
Yes.
It's beyond the backup, because you fundamentally re-architected your entire system.
Oh,
right?
So they can't revert back.
Yeah, they're painfully reverting back.
I mean, this is a problem a lot of Atlassian customers going to have that move to the cloud, because there is no way to move back to data center anymore.
Yeah,
Right,
it's not. It's a reverse migration. It's just as complicated as an initial migration.
I would say twice as hard, but it brings up a great point of why this is why I love Jira, right? Because Jira is a tool that helps us avoid these kinds of problems, right? Because we track our bugs in there. And I think what happens a lot of times, right, is, and I've seen this my entire career, I've worked in big, huge defense companies, right? The squeaky wheel gets the oil, and the loudest person in the room usually gets their way. Mm-hmm. And so what happens is you have these problems, and you have these high people in high positions. And I think Elon said it best recently, where like, no wonder Boeing's having all these problems with their planes when the CEO has never even been on the manufacturing floor. So if you don't even know how your product is built, how the heck do you make a decision, a critical one, as to do we accept or not accept a defect, right? Mm-hmm. So you got to make those defects very objective so that any person, regardless of experience, can make a better, more conscientious decision. And so I think this is, again, why I love Jira, because one of the things that I do when I'm crafting Jira is focusing in on the bugs. Companies hate bugs. They hate focusing on their problems, right? But if you do this correctly, you can make your bug capturing and analysis and fixing much more objective, which then leads to less case studies where you end up with those problems.
M also does not like bugs.
No, I wouldn't either.
No.
She barks on you.
I mean, Alex, I think you would find this case study interesting, and it's the one I was telling Valerie about earlier this week, but it's the example of Pokemon Sword and Shield versus Animal Crossing New Leaf. Their development history, they started about the same time, were developed for the same hardware platform. About 6 months before release, Nintendo came out and said, our game is not in a good state. We want to have it to you by the holidays. We're not going to be able to do it. We're going to have to delay it by about 4 months to March the following year. Mm-hmm. Now, that did put them in perfect timing for the pandemic.
Yeah, COVID, everybody was on
But
COVID.
that wasn't a known factor back then. Right. When they made the decision. They were doing it based off the state of our project is not such that we can release on time and feel good about it. Now, Game Freak, which is Nintendo owned but independently operated, they decided to go the opposite approach. At the same time, they were having similar problems with their code. They're like, you know what? The release date is what it is. We're just going to have to go for it.
I love that you bring up that analogy. Dr. Valeri, are you a gamer?
When he posted this in the chat, I was like, my old school Nintendo, I still have it.
I'm going to think you're even older than that. Did you ever, I'm assuming you watched E.T., the movie?
Yes, E.T. Phone Home.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So there's an infamous story from, what was it? It's got to be 80s, right?
The early 80s, I believe the video game crash you talked about happened like 81.
Are you you're going to show our age that we know this? Okay, let's throw it all back.
We're old. No.
I already accepted that fact. I'm over it.
There was an Atari game that was made, the ET one, but it was so crappy that they literally threw it into a landfill. The game, straight off the shelf.
I did not know this.
Oh yeah, it's infamous. The ET game for Atari. But no, back to the case study. Back to the case study. Pokemon Sword and Shield, when it was released, had graphics so bad that people were considering it, comparing it to an N64 game that came out in the late 90s.
But
whereas
some companies can do well, right? Some companies can pivot. So, like, Sonic is a great example. Did you watch the first Sonic?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sonic, the movie, right? Like,
yeah.
The way they rendered that character was such a disservice to the franchise that the people, the company listened to their customers and they actually redid the movie.
Completely re-rendered the movie with new graphics.
But if they listen, the challenge that I get kind of frustrates me on occasion is when products don't listen to their customer base. So we have at Connect Centric, we have multiple partnerships with large products global products, all of these. And a part of my duties is to engage and interact with all of these products, their partner managers, and to promote them so that we can also promote our services. It's a very symbiotic relationship. But then when you get one of those products, and I'm not going to name one, but it's one of the big ones, and they're so unresponsive, it's really hard to go out there and sell that product and to explain to people all the benefits of that product when you can't even get access to a live human being to answer a question. How
Right.
can you then tell a customer that they guarantee a customer, or at least hint that they may good customer service? So I think with Sonic the Hedgehog, it was so great because they were responsive. Atlassian does the same thing. They do a lot of internal market research, and they pool their community to really do the developments. Sometimes they take it too far and they develop too much. That's a whole different challenge, but they're that responsive. It's the challenge is when they're not responsive, when they're not listening. So I'll add on to this case study with Apple. So Apple has AI. Have you heard of this story? Apple has AI. Apple Intelligence is supposed to be in your iPhone 16. Now, we all discovered that I have an iPhone 8. Yes, I have an iPhone 8, and I will have an iPhone 8 until it dies, and then I will consider having another iPhone 8. Don't hate me for it. But so
You know, the
Apple,
SE still has the button, so you can just get the SE.
so don't even get me started on this topic. Don't even, because like there's a. It's I'm not even.
Me and
I'm not
you-
even.
Me and you are
Later.
going to have a talk about the Steam Deck because they just did something I want to praise. But
Yes.
we'll do it, yeah.
Oh,
We'll do it in a bit.
We're gonna have to have a part 2 because like this conversation just
Oh.
leads to more conversation and leads to more conversation. So Apple, right? They're supposed to have Apple Intelligence. It's supposed to come out, make the iPhone like uber smart, connect with your Alexa, a whole 9 yards. But they have stalled their release date because it's not where they want it to be. And the criticism if they're stalling is, yeah, once they do have it, it's going to be great and perfect. But AI is moving so fast. People are developing so many things that by the time they do release it, it's going to be out of date. Everybody's going to be committed to other AI products. So for me, it really is about the questions in order to get the best possible results. Now, you have these variables or these factors that you can't really predict, like COVID. In your scenario, like we couldn't really predict COVID or control for it, but it had a major impact on it. Apple, is it gonna their hold off of the release? Is it gonna pay off at the end, or are they gonna be obsolete?
I think Apple, in that particular case, Apple is not wanting to repeat history.
Mm.
So Apple Maps was one of the biggest disasters that they ever shipped. And their head of software got fired for it because he did not want to take accountability and ownership of that fiasco. I think Apple is just not wanting to repeat that mistake again. And so they'd rather do a phase. Now, will Apple lose market share over it? I don't think so, because Apple is notoriously late to getting things out. Because when they get things out, they do it better than anyone else.
Interesting.
Asterisk.
Interesting. Rodney is making notes. He's like, yeah.
Rodney
sir.
doesn't like Apple as much as I do, but I can tell you we can go do a deep.
I mean, Alex will fanboy a fair bit, so I have to have question how much of better than anyone else is subjective and how much of it is his fanboy.
Hey, man. Just telling you, name one thing on an iPhone that's not far superior than anything Android has ever shipped.
Man, you
FM
guys are
radio.
gonna throw down. Like those are some fighting vibes right there. I love it.
Hackability. I mean, we could have this hackability. Yes, I could. I want to be able to control every aspect of my own phone. I own the hardware. I want to control it.
I can do it now too. I just had to wait 9 years.
That's the point. I could do it 9 years ago.
But Apple does it with so much suave.
So while you guys are battling out, can we battle it out on an official game?
What is
yes.
it?
Are you ready? All right. So the name of the game. So I don't know if you've noticed, the doctors are in the house today. In honor of.
I feel like a dog collar.
I put it on earlier today because she got all dressed up for a Doctor Who adventures. Just to let Bob know, you never have to bribe me to wear an outfit. I'm all about it 24/7. It is very Halloween appropriate, but 365 days a year, if you want to dress up an outfit, we want to do matchy. I'm on there. I'm with you. I couldn't find a fez.
We're gonna have to coordinate Team 25 then.
Let's do it. Let's make this magic happen. All right. So the name of the game is who is more likely to. And so I'm going to ask a question. Who is more likely to? You're either going to point to yourself or point to the other person. So directionally, wherever you can, point to the other person. I'm not in this game. I'm hosting it. So it's between Alex and Rodney.
Oh no! If I feel like you're appropriate, I'm pointing to you, Valerie.
All right. I don't think there.
I mean, Alex, I think I'd be good on. Valerie, I don't know. I mean, I just don't know if I'd get it right. Alex, I think I could get it right.
Yeah,
let's see how well we know each other.
Game. So
we've been partners in crimes 2 years now. Let's see.
Let's see how that initial relationship blossomed. So I'm going to give you a softball just to warm you up. Who is more likely to get hit by a car playing Pokemon Go?
Rodney.
All right. See how the game goes.
Sidebar story, because Sean's in the room here. We went to San Francisco, and we're walking down the streets of San Francisco. My wife's from South Central LA, so
she could cut you, man.
She knows what's up, right? Like Compton, Inglewood, all that. Like you don't walk around just like casual, right? So I'm in San Francisco with Sean, and he stops to get instructions, like maps to the hotel, because we stayed at the same hotel, and he lets go of his suitcase to do that. And I'm like, what are you just letting it roll away? And I'm like grabbing it because I'm like hyper aware of my surroundings. And Sean's just like walking around, just like looking at his phone. And I'm like, we're gonna die.
This is where we end. Like this is where we die. This is awesome.
Yeah, no, I would definitely not crash because I'd be so hyper aware of what's going on.
So we all point at Sean now instead of Rodney.
Either Sean or Rodney. Either of those two.
I mean, if there's only a binary choice, that one's probably going to be me. But if it's not binary, Sean.
Definitely. And so there are two versions of these lists. There's my questions, which are very nice and fluffy. Bob went to the mattresses on this one. He was like, let me throw it out. Most likely to forget to transition a ticket from in progress to done.
That'll be me.
No.
You both. All right. Most likely to comment on Jira issues with a full essay.
Rodney.
Probably also me.
Rodney, all right.
I won't transition it, but I'll comment on them all day long.
Emojis were the greatest invention ever. Thumbs up.
Who is most likely to accidentally close a ticket?
Oh, definitely Alex.
Close?
Wrongfully closed. It's not really closed, but you closed it anyways, or closed the wrong.
It did not match our definition of done.
Okay, that's okay. But first of all, like in my mind, it was closed. Like it was done.
He's like, it was done to me, not to everybody else.
To me,
but to me. Most likely to create the most subtasks on a single ticket.
Rodney.
Rodney, man, on a documentation, and Rodney, I'm gonna start having to dig through what you create. Most likely to always set an unrealistic deadline in Jira. Mind you, that's a Bob question. That's not me. I'm nice. Who's gonna do an unrealistic deadline? Alex? You gonna take this one?
I feel like maybe, yeah.
Maybe, yeah.
I got a little bit of Elon in me. I'll give you tomorrow is the deadline.
He comes up with lots of ideas, and they're all great ideas. I just have to be the one to go, yes, but is it realistic?
And then I'm on the other side of the spectrum where like any task needs to be done in 20 minutes or less. Doesn't matter if you're trying to end world hunger, 20 minutes.
That's it. You got 20 minutes to get this done or nothing. Most likely to assign a Jira ticket to the wrong team member.
Neither of them.
That's Bob. Bob is all negative. Let's go positive. Who is more likely to attend an Atlassian event just for the swag?
Me.
Me.
Both of you? Who will figure out a Jira plugin at 2 a.m.?
Rodney. That's definitely Rodney.
Rodney, you're behind your screen at
You'll
2
create it too if you can. Give him enough Raspberry Pis and he's got it going.
Who's
No
most
comments.
likely to break something or forget their password during a live demo?
That's Rodney.
Me.
Rodney, I forget my password all the time. I have too many accounts and too many passwords.
Password manager is a great thing. Don't ask me to remember a single password without it.
It is. But what if you forget your password to your password manager?
I've done it.
It's painful.
It's a bad day. It's
not good. Who is most likely to start their day with a podcast recording of Jira products?
Me.
I think that's an Alex.
An Alex all the way?
Saturday morning.
Who is more likely to complain about an Atlassian certification exam?
Me.
Definitely Alex.
I'd be right there with you. It's going to take a lot for me to sit for an exam. I'll do the corporate accreditations all day long and those type of certifications, but who is more likely to try to automate away their daily life?
Rodney.
I'm also there.
Let me tell you, this house automated 7 ways to Sunday.
I love it.
Did you get a bidet though?
Not yet, but I'm looking at it.
He's like, the next apocalypse, I will be taken care of. I will not have the issue with toilet paper not being available. He's planning ahead. That's what's happening. And the final question, who is more likely to binge Doctor Who while working on Jira issues?
Definitely Rodney, because I've never even seen Doctor Who.
Yeah.
What? I'm going to take your bow tie away.
You
what?
should. I don't...
Alex.
I mean, I've seen enough to not want to watch it.
Wow.
That's somehow even worse.
Wow.
That is somehow even worse. Valerie, I'm suddenly in the market for a new partner for the Jira Life. You want to come on?
Let's do this. Until he watches at least one season of our.
We'll even let you choose the season. We'll give you recommendations, but we'll let you choose which season.
Just, I don't know. Never.
I can't. He's like, I can't do it. So for me, and so I'm a big Trekkie, and if I started my journey into Star Trek, by the way, I started it very young. I was like watching that as a kid, teenager, watching Star Trek, crushing on Jean-Luc Picard. Oh, he's so dreamy, still dreamy. But if I were to start it with Shatner back in the day, I would not have liked it at all. Even these days, I can appreciate the older, mostly for Spock, but I can't do it. So same thing with Doctor Who. Like sometimes if you start with the early, the black and white Doctor Who, you'll be like, oh, this is super cheesy. I can't do it.
Yeah, I know. The last time I took a recommendation from one of these two guys, I ended up watching 34 minutes of a black screen. Remember in 2001 A Space Odyssey?
Did they warn you first?
They told me we're watching.
I mean, you've got to experience Space Odyssey as is without bias. It would not have been fair for us to warn them.
I haven't watched Space Odyssey. I turned something on the other day that had like amazing ratings on the streaming network that I was looking at, and I turned it on and I was like, wait, is this black and white and going really slow? Don't get me wrong. I love the Technicolor shows, like the old Technicolors, like the classic, but not just the random sci-fi. Sci-fi had its high points for me, and that's not when that time zone happened. Like later on, sci-fi really hit it for me.
So also, Valerie, you mentioned Star Trek. Lower Decks season 5 premiered today, episode 1. So I know what I'm doing after the podcast. I figured I'd let you know.
I'm going to be streaming it with Jean-Luc and having some wine later. What? Angry face?
Chateau Picard?
Chateau Picard. Oh. My crushes. Red Dwarf. I love it all.
I have no idea what you guys are talking about. Can we go back to Jira?
So sorry. We digress in nerddom. That is the guess who is more likely to game. Thank you for playing. It's just a fun way to get to know you two and to start arguments between the Jira Life guys.
Tacos always, never a sandwich.
I think a sandwich is a ceviche. Well, no, not ceviche.
Ceviche?
No,
Tortas?
Tortas. Like there's an actual.
Tortas?
thing in Spanish for sandwich?
Well, and speaking of games, we have you. You're not going to get away, Valerie, without having your questions as well.
We gotta put you in the hot seat.
Let's do it.
Quick Quizlet, 5 questions. A or B, yes or no.
No, we can't be at the PhD level.
What?
No.
You're just going to start off with the hard.
We want to be fair. We're going to be fair. But still, you have to give your answer as quick as possible, and Alex will judge your answers. And that's the real challenge.
All right.
So, first question: Scrum or Kanban?
Scrum.
Scrum.
Mm-hmm.
You're in the circle.
Judge.
Yes. Thumbs up.
All right. Question number 2. And I'd like to point out, I did not pick the questions this week. So, question number 2: Is a taco a sandwich?
No, it is not. It is not.
Thank you.
I feel in the Hispanic community we have lots of sandwiches, and they have specific names. And taco is not a taco. It's a taco. A taco is a taco.
You're my favorite Valerie now.
Thank you. Thank you. I have a song. Do you need me to sing? Oh, Valerie. Okay. What's my next question?
Well, then when we were doing our interview, you were singing. I don't know that I caught it on time or not.
You don't know if it's recorded and out there on the interwebs. That is okay.
It is now.
Sometimes it's good not to catch me in goofiness.
I know.
All right. So question number 3. If you could have dinner with 3 historical figures, who would you choose and why?
Well, she's got 2 of them here.
I mean, my life is already. We didn't have dinner. Did we have dinner? We had like snacks at Team 24.
Yeah, we kind of had hors d'oeuvres and snacks.
Hours devours.
When I'm having dinner with these people, can they be fictional? Because like Jean-Luc is really high on my list.
I mean, I don't see why not.
I mean, can I just have a dinner of Star Trek characters? I want Spock. I want them all. I want to like throw in some Klingon. Like, let's make this magic really happen. Can I have dinner with a couple of Doctor Who's? Like one that I think is awesome, but a little evil, and the other one that I think is awesome and probably would date in real life. Like Benedict Cumberbatch. He's also very dreamy, but kind of married. So many options here. Can I just have dinner with them all?
Why not?
All right.
Then you pick your favorite at the end?
No, it's like picking my favorite star in the heavens, Alex. I would.
You know what's interesting? For having a PhD, that means that you've taken all the concepts and things that you could possibly learn in the world, and you zoomed in on one.
Yes, exactly.
When it comes to love, you're like, I want them all.
I want them all, except when it comes to my PhD field study, then it's one very situational knowledge. One. That's
one
actually
point,
all
one little blip in the world. That's Valerie, but everything else she wants it all.
All right. So question number 4. And again, Alex, still judging you here. Favorite way to travel: by car, by train, or by plane?
A transporter. Why is a transporter not on that list?
A telephone booth?
I mean, yes. We are in Doctor Who.
Have you seen Sean's background, his room?
No, I have not. What is
you
his
gotta
background?
watch episode 13 of the Jira duty.
Uh-huh.
So go back to part 13 where Sean is on there with me, and we'll look at his background.
You have a transporter?
He has a TARDIS.
That's his door.
He has a TARDIS?
That's what he goes through.
That is awesome. How is that not on the list of possible plane, trains, or automobiles? I want a transporter or a TARDIS.
I'll take the hot tub time machine.
I don't like driving, so definitely not driving. It's boring. It's manual. No driving. Planes are okay, but they're cramped. I know. Self-driving cars. Can I add? Okay, my choice is self-driving cars.
Ones that work.
I mean, I'm not the judge here. You've got to convince Alex.
Alex,
please. We're not ready. We're not ready.
It's not ready yet. Neither is the Transformer. Emmy wants to say hi.
I am.
Okay, she's going away. Next question. We got
all
1
right,
minute.
last question. Last minute.
Whoa.
Do you wet your toothbrush before or after you put the toothpaste on it?
I wet my toothbrush before I put the toothpaste on it, and then I wet it again, and then I put it in my mouth. I'm a process person, so if you ask me any type of what do you do in which order, I can tell you my process to just about everything. I know.
I don't think the doctors would be very happy with you.
Is this not good? Did I fail my quiz? Alex, please. You want me to bribe you on the side? What is it going to take? What is it going to take? Bob was offering me $20 for a Fez hat. I'll give you the $20.
Yeah?
I want to win. What do I win?
don't know.
Bragging rights?
I'll think about it. I'll let you know.
Okay.
You have to come on the Jira Life more often.
Let's do it.
I'll tell you what you win. Certification code, but you have to use it.
But then I have to take the test.
Yeah, don't fall trick. That's how I fall in trick with you.
I have to take the test. I do have one certification code, and I'm like, okay, am I gonna sit down for the test? I'm like rocking just thinking about it. We'll get through it.
Meanwhile, I go in. It's 5 a.m. for my time when I take the test. I haven't even been in Barcelona a full day yet, and it's like, yeah, this feels like the right time to take the test.
So you could have gone out there and like looked at Spain and Barcelona specifically, and you're like, let me just go lock myself up in a room for 3 hours. That's more fun.
Did it really?
Well, the thing is, it didn't take me 3 hours. I'm one of those test takers that I'm usually done like after an hour.
But you pre-allocated 3 hours of your life for this.
I mean, I did, but it was free. I mean, I did, but it was free. So, you know.
Free is my favorite price. I agree. So I support that aspect. But you could have been on the hop on, hop off bus with me, seeing all of Spain. We didn't hop, but we were just on the bus.
What was your favorite Spain memory, Valerie?
So I lived in South America for a while, and I'm Puerto Rican of Spaniard descent. So it was just like very affirming of, oh, no wonder I like so much bread and fish from the sea. Like it was just like, oh, these are my people. It was just coming home to my roots, really, and very much like South America, but way nicer.
We should have done this episode in Spanish.
It would be so bad. My Spanish is terrible.
The Jira Life in Español.
Nice.
You know, we try to do our interview in Spanish, right?
You were going for it, and then I was like, and now I got to switch to English.
And then when
I cut it, I was like, I cut this in a very awkward space for Alex because no one really knows what he was saying beforehand, and it's in Spanish, but I'm like, no one's gonna know but Alex, like, and the few people that speak Spanish. So I was like, let's just go for it. It's fine.
You really are an interest. Your brain works in different ways than anyone I know.
That is the biggest compliment anyone can give me. Thank you, Alex.
and I do mean that in the nicest way possible, because like it's just like the way you look at just the simplest of things, like it's very inspirational. Like it makes me want to look deeper into just, again, I'm such a surface level type of guy that every once in a while, like there's some value in like thinking about stuff.
It's the curiosity in me. So that's what kind of drives my drive for education is I'm very curious, and I use education a lot to solve problems. So anytime in my life when I got injured in the Army, I went back to school and retrained, and it was the thing that got me out of a difficult situation. So I also am the person that always recommends training for everything. Like, this happened at work today. Did they take a class? Do they need to take a class? So sometimes they overgeneralize it, and maybe some surface level, maybe they just had a bad day, Valerie. They don't need a class. But
just listening to you last week, right, whereas we're looking at our community-led courses that we're looking at, like I've taught like 50 of these or something by this point, right? And I'm like, I never once thought of anything in this conversation the way Valerie did.
You should have been afraid that I was stalking all the creators on that channel so much. I was explaining everyone's analytics and saying like, hey, have we thought about that? But wasn't it you that asked, what's the difference? Why does someone come to a community-led course versus Atlassian University?
But yeah, but that's me putting on my Valerie hat.
No, that was a perfect question. And my response is, yeah, like if everyone's coming to this because Alex is here, because currently everyone should know this, Alex has the highest attendance rate in all of the community-led courses right now.
Have you seen the first video?
The first video of the first
training. So I did.
Yeah, the first CLC. The first one, Alex did the very first one.
Did you?
And I know this because I was on the back end trying to manage all the comments and funnel questions to him, and it was crazy.
I will show this to Valerie here so she can kind of see this. This is the very first live training in January. Okay, and it's right here. Get started with your admin on January 23rd. 6,391 views.
That's intense.
Right?
And this is live views.
No. The live views was like upwards of 1,000.
Yeah.
But
wow.
But this is the highest of any, because then if I switch over to, well, I don't want to bore everybody with the details, but nothing has come close to that after. But that, I mean, all the eggs were put into the very first video. And
it was a success. I think
that's what we got to sit down and look at it.
Yeah. I asked them a lot of questions about analytics and who does what and why, and you were adding into that. We got a lot of good information. I wish more creators would have been able to attend, but we got to get together again and discuss it. Kevin's going to go back and get.
Yeah, I'm gonna go pick your brain one of these days. I just feel bad because I figured you are like one of the busiest people in the world. So, but I'm gonna have to steal you once a week or something.
No, I am always here for the Jira Life and the Jira guys. Like I'm anytime you need me, anytime something breaks, I will be reaching out to you anyways.
So. Then I mean, you gotta come and look at my channel then, because like the amount of data that's in there. Oh boy.
I think Alex has more data on his channel for Atlassian creators than any other entity around.
I'm going to do it. So one of the things we do is focus on one social media channel at a time. So right now we're very deep into LinkedIn. That's why I can tell you all the random, what is Microsoft and LinkedIn doing these days? It's because we go so deep. Mm-hmm. Next thing is YouTube. So I'm going to stock all that. If you give me I will give you anything I find, but if you give me the opportunity to look at your analytics, I will pull out.
Let's look at it, because I spend every waking second of my life studying YouTube.
Yes. I'm there. I'm going to be there with you.
I mean, I just call it watching YouTube, but you know.
Nope, I got the whole thing. I don't even know how many pages here.
That's where Jira, Dr. Jira's doctriness comes in. He's like,
I know.
I
got Mr. Beast's 36 page book on like how to run Mr. Beast production, like Mr. Beast. Like this is his words. And he goes deep into the analysis of like what makes Mr. Beast as a channel function and work.
Do you have that as a PDF? Are we going to share it with our friends?
Yeah, I'll send it to you. I got it on there somewhere.
Okay, please do. I will read. I do read lots of things. I'm a super nerd.
We gotta read, but then we gotta converse because I need help. So okay. I need to pick your brain, and we gotta help each other.
We gotta mind meld. Exactly.
The doctors will get together as a part 2 and nerd out.
Let's do it.
All right.
Hold on. This can't come in.
I caught myself on fire. Have you tried that? No. But if we're gonna set some people on fire, let's not do Rodney, because you know that's we want to keep him alive. Let's set Alex on fire. Let's see what happens.
I'll just jump into my pool.
You have a pool? Definitely.
I mean, Alex.
We won't be using the pool in April though. It's too cold.
Yes, because it's 73 degrees in California in April.
No, because the nights are like 45.
Oh, yeah, it does get down.
But bring a light jacket.
We'll be in the daytime. I can't believe
so that's why, like, come for the whole week. Don't just come for the 3 days. Come for a week and a half if you can, because it's going to be jam-packed.
No, if I'm flying on an airplane again for an extended period of time, it's going to be I'm going to stay at the destination for a while.
Yeah. I would say mi casa tu casa, but Rodney's already taken up one couch, but
no, we're all gonna we're bringing our tents.
I told you I am renting out the backyard as a campground.
All right. There you
go. And then you just need to get the bus, and then we'll all bus over. It's perfect.
I got enough cousins. My cousins all work at Disneyland, so they all have to go that way anyway. So I got enough family members to go to Disneyland.
We can make this work. We can make this work.
The coordinator, yeah. And like Anaheim has a special, they call it ART, Anaheim Resort Transportation. Like you can just hop on and it takes you around the Anaheim Resort. So
let's do it. I want to go to downtown Disney. What shows are we going to hit?
All that.
November 6th, 9 a.m. or 8:45 a.m. Pacific time. The annual passes go on sale for next year. So if you got $1,800 to spare, highly recommend you get one.
But downtown Disney is free, and they do have good food and shows. And
we'll spend the whole time in downtown Disney then.
Who is more likely to dress up as a Disney character during Teams 25?
You gotta do.
That would be the community leaders out of Orlando.
Yeah,
I'm not joking either.
What do you call it when you don't dress up but you're dressing up?
What?
There's a thing that when you dress up but you're not dressed up because you can't technically wear a costume.
I think we officially got off the rails, guys.
There's a term for when you're doing like you dress up inspired by. No, not cosplay, but it's
impersonation.
No, like this would be like a
Halloween.
It would be like inspired by like the movie, but you're not necessarily like it's the same color.
Homage.
An homage.
Another word.
Now,
let's.
I have a friend who does
I think
word show.
We're now 11 minutes over. I think we're going to cut it there.
It's going to be dangerous.
Wrap it up.
In the same room with Dr. Valeri.
All right. So
you're going to be.
Guys, Valerie, thank you for being here. It's I said this definitely going to have to be part 2 and maybe a part 3. I know Sarah's already collaborating on how to kidnap me and Alex and take over the show. So
do it,
that's
Sarah, let's do it. Let's make it happen.
But again, thank you, everyone. Next week we're going to have Mike and Brittany back for another Trello Takeover, Halloween edition. And as we always say,
we didn't choose the Jira Life. The Jira Life chose us.
It's in there for a second.
Thank you for listening to the Jira Life. Our hosts are Alex, Dr. Jira Ortiz, and Rodney, the Jira Guy, Nissen. You can find Alex on YouTube at 8Tech Tutorials, and Rodney's blog is found over at thejiraguy.com. Our producers are Robert King Bob Wen and Lina Ortiz. You can catch us live as we record this podcast every Thursday at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern on YouTube at The Jira Life. Be sure to join us and our other Jira Amigos of the Peanut Gallery every week to ask your questions, let us know your comments, and just tell us what you're up to. But if you can't join us live, you can still catch the replay over on YouTube. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell while you're watching. We're also available as a podcast over on Apple iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. If you listen to it and think it deserves a rating, we would very much appreciate it, as it will help others discover the Jira Life. Because we didn't choose the Jira Life. The Jira Life chose us.